Do you remember when life in Ireland was different? When small towns had that family atmosphere, when everyone knew each other by name. The simple schools, the old markets, the traditions that united people. Today, all of that seems distant, but the memories remain vivid. In this video, we'll go back in time and feel again the magic of Irish rural life, the kind that marked generations. If you lived through it, you'll feel it in your heart. There was a time when life was simpler, when the clock moved slowly and each moment had its value. It was rural Ireland, the Ireland of small towns, of villages forgotten by time, where life had a different rhythm, a different flavor. The morning started early. Dense fog covered the green fields, and the smell of peat burning in the fireplaces invaded the old stone houses. Inside, there was the warmth of the fire, the smell of fresh bread, and the sound of the kettle whistling. Hot tea was served in old porcelain mugs, each sip carrying with it the history of generations. Children would get ready for school in their simple uniforms, often patched with care. They'd walk for miles along dirt roads, laughing, singing, and playing. They'd step in puddles just to see the water splash. The journey was part of the education. The school itself was small, maybe a single classroom for all ages. Wooden desks were scratched by generations of students, and a teacher who knew each child by name was the bridge between that small village and the big world outside. There they learned to read and write, but also about respect, community, and the value of a given word. On Saturdays, the village woke up differently. It was market day. Wooden stalls were set up in the main square, and people came from all over. The ladies sold freshly harvested vegetables, homemade cheeses, and crusty breads. The men traded sheep and talked about the weather and Gaelic football. Everyone greeted each other with a nod, a handshake, a sincere smile. There was no rush. There was time for everyone. Work in the fields defined life. From sunrise to sunset, families worked together. The father plowed the land with a horse, the mother harvested the vegetables, and the children helped where they could. The work was hard, their hands became calloused, but there was pride in it. Pride in planting and harvesting and seeing the table full at the end of the season. The land didn't give wealth, but it gave life, and that was enough. The afternoons belonged to the children. When work was over, they would run off barefoot, flying kites made of newspaper and twigs, playing hide and seek among the old trees or swimming in icy streams. There were no electronic distractions. There was only nature, imagination, and each other's company. It was everything. As evening fell, they'd return home covered in mud, with scraped knees, but eyes shining with happiness. Dinner was always served at the table. The family sat together talking about the day. The food was simple: boiled potatoes, mutton, bread, but it was made with love and enjoyed with gratitude. When night truly fell, the family gathered around the fireplace. Grandfather would light his pipe and tell stories. Old stories passed down from generation to generation. Stories of war, of famine, of resistance, but also stories of love, of loss, of hope. The children listened in silence, mesmerized, and show the history of the Irish people was kept alive not in books, but in their hearts. Sundays were for church. The whole village dressed in their best clothes and walked together to the old stone church. The Mass was in Latin, but what mattered was being there, together, as a community. After, everyone stayed outside talking, laughing, and catching up on life. The seasons marked life. Spring brought newborn lambs and hope. Summer brought longer days. Autumn was for the harvest. And winter, though long and cold, brought families closer together around the fire. Traditions were sacred. Halloween was celebrated with bonfires and ghost stories. Christmas was simple, but magical. St. Patrick's Day was a day of national pride, music, and dance. Music was the soul of Ireland. On Friday nights, men would gather at the local pub, not just to drink, but to play music, to sing, to keep the old songs alive. Songs about the sea, the land, lost loves, and ancient battles. And when someone started to dance, everyone danced. But life was hard. Many young people left for Dublin, London, or America, searching for opportunities the small village couldn't offer. The farewells were painful. Mothers wept, and fathers embraced their children, knowing they might never see them again. Today, many of these villages have changed. The dirt roads are paved. The small schools have closed. The world has accelerated and left behind that slow time, that time of connection. But there are those who still remember. They remember the smell of peat, the taste of homemade bread, the sound of children's laughter. They remember when life was harder, yes, but also simpler, more genuine, more human. And perhaps in remembering, in telling these stories, something of that time will remain alive. Because although time doesn't go back, the memories remain. And as long as there is someone to remember, that simple and beautiful life will never completely die. Thank you for joining us on this journey back in time. If these memories touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories.